Welcome back to World Information HD, the place where hidden treasures often lurk in plain sight. Today we're diving deep into the world of rare US Lincoln pennies, those humble 1-cent coins you might find in your pocket or jar. But with a twist, we're talking about the top 5 most valuable, ultra-rare pennies that are sometimes dirty, damaged, or overlooked, yet have sold at auctions for millions of dollars. Could one of these be hiding in your spare change? Stay tuned to find out. Today, we take a deep dive into a coin most people walk past every single day without a second thought. A coin that sits quietly in jars, piggy banks, old dresser drawers, and forgotten pockets. It's the humble United States of America 1975 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny. But this isn't just any penny. This one is dirty, damaged, worn down by decades of circulation. And despite its rugged appearance, it holds a fascinating place in American numismatic history and could even be worth far more than 1 cent to the right collector. Imagine reaching into your pocket and feeling that small copper disc that has passed through countless hands. Maybe it once sat in the cash register of a corner grocery store in the 1970s. Maybe it traveled across states, bouncing from wallets to jars, from car cup holders to the hands of a child who needed just one more penny to buy a piece of candy. The 1975 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is more than just currency. It is a tiny time capsule from a turbulent era in American history, carrying with it the echoes of a nation that was changing fast. The mid-1970s were years of transformation. Gas prices soared, inflation tightened its grip, and the American people were searching for normalcy after political upheaval. Even the coins minted at this time reflect a nation in transition. The 1975 penny, although common in mintage numbers, holds its own identity. It was minted at a time when the United States Mint was still crafting pennies using the 95% copper composition that collectors love today. That rich copper tone, the weight, and the durability give these older pennies a character that modern zinc-based pennies simply do not have. What makes the 1975 no-mint mark version special is that it came from the Philadelphia Mint. Unlike Denver, which uses a mint mark, the Philadelphia Mint traditionally did not use a mint mark on circulating pennies at that time. So when you see a 1975 penny with no mint mark, that is your clue that it came from Philadelphia. But there's something else collectors look for: condition, rarity within condition, and unique features. And this is where even a dirty or damaged penny can surprise you. A heavily circulated penny might have scratches, dents, discoloration, or even chemical stains. Many people think that a damaged penny has no value, but coin collectors often have a different perspective. When a penny from 1975 appears dirty or beaten up, it might actually be hiding something under that layer of wear. Some collectors specifically look for coins that show unusual characteristics because mint errors are not always obvious. A small die crack, a misalignment, or a slightly off-center strike can easily be overlooked by the untrained eye. And believe it or not, some of the most valuable finds in coin collecting history were discovered on coins that looked like they belonged in the trash. Imagine a collector picking up what looked like a useless, dirty penny from a flea market box. Under magnification, they noticed a tiny raised line near the date, a die crack. That small crack transformed what looked like a worthless coin into a coin worth hundreds of dollars. Sometimes even more. So when we look at a 1975 penny that has been through the toughest conditions, we must remember that its appearance tells only part of the story. It has lived a long life, and that life may have left behind features that today's collectors passionately search for. The portrait of Abraham Lincoln, a design that has been on the penny since 1909, often shows significant wear on coins from the 1970s. The cheek, jawline, and hair are usually the first areas to flatten. On a dirty or damaged coin, these details might blend into the surface. But certain collectors actually find beauty in that heavy wear. It gives the coin character. It gives it history. A pristine coin is beautiful, but a worn coin has a story. Turn the coin over, and you will see the Lincoln Memorial design, a classic reverse design used from 1959 until 2008. Even on worn pennies, you can sometimes spot small varieties like extra metal near the columns, faint doubling on the lettering, or shifts in the memorial lines. It is proof that even on a penny that looks rough, mysteries can still exist. Collectors also tend to appreciate coins that show natural aging. A dirty penny that still retains its structure can sometimes be more desirable than a heavily cleaned penny. Cleaning a coin damages its surface, removes metal, leaves scratches, and destroys numismatic value. A naturally aged penny from 1975 tells its true story, unaltered and untouched. Another fascinating aspect of older pennies is how the copper reacts to time. Exposure to moisture, heat, oils, soil, and circulation patterns can create a wide variety of natural colors. Some 1975 pennies appear dark brown, others reddish, some nearly black. A few develop beautiful rainbow toning, blues, purples, greens, caused by decades of oxidation. Collectors love unusual toning when it appears naturally, even on circulated coins. So that dirty 1975 penny you found could actually have desirable coloration beneath the grime. The question people often ask is, why do collectors pay attention to a year like 1975? After all, it wasn't a rare year in terms of mintage. The Philadelphia Mint produced hundreds of millions of these pennies. But what collectors treasure is the unexpected. Just because a coin was common doesn't mean valuable versions don't exist. Condition extremes, extremely high grade or extremely unusual wear patterns, can create value. Unique toning can create value. Minting errors can create value. And sometimes the combination of age, metal composition, and overall scarcity in top condition gives even a dirty penny a surprising premium. Think about how many 1975 pennies have been melted, lost, thrown away, or simply destroyed over 5 decades. Even though they were common once, not all of them survived. Especially not in original copper. That survival factor plays a big role in modern collecting. If only a small percentage remains in collectible condition, prices for higher-end pieces naturally rise. And for lower-grade pieces, demand from collectors who specialize in circulated coins creates an entirely different market. In recent years, the popularity of copper pennies has surged. The fact that pennies made before 1982 contain real copper makes them more attractive to collectors, hoarders, and investors. Every 1975 penny automatically belongs to that copper-rich category. Even in dirty or damaged condition, the intrinsic metal content alone makes them interesting to hold on to. For some collectors, copper pennies are like tiny bars of history. Now let's talk about real-world finds. People have discovered valuable coins in pocket change, in old jars, inside abandoned storage units, or even in parking lots. Stories circulate online about collectors finding pennies worth hundreds or thousands of dollars simply because they recognized a rare minting flaw. A small doubling on the lettering. A misaligned die strike. A clipped planchet. A repunched date. These discoveries remind us that valuable coins do not always look shiny and beautiful. Sometimes they are the dirtiest coin in the pile. The 1975 penny is also historic because it sits between two important eras in the Lincoln cent series. Before it came the early copper years. After it, the mint began experimenting with different materials and planchet compositions. Collectors love coins from transitional periods because they help complete full sets and represent changing technologies. So when you hold a dirty, damaged 1975 penny, you are not just holding an old coin. You are holding a piece of American monetary evolution. You are holding something that has lived through 5 decades of history. You are holding something that might have value, perhaps not at first glance, but to the right collector with the right knowledge, that coin can become something extremely interesting. Every coin collector knows that condition usually plays a huge role in determining value. But every serious collector also knows that unique stories, errors, and original aging can matter just as much. So do not underestimate your 1975 penny just because it looks rough. Look closely. Examine the date. Inspect the lettering. Observe the thickness of the rim. Study the portrait. You might spot something you never noticed before. And if your penny happens to have the right combination of features, it could be worth much more than its face value. If you've ever thought that a regular-looking, worn-out, dirty Lincoln penny from the late 1970s couldn't possibly be worth anything, then today's story is going to change the way you look at change forever. Because right now, in pockets, drawers, jars, garages, and old coin albums across the United States, there are still a few mysterious 1979 no-mint Mark Lincoln cents hiding in plain sight. These odd, damaged, and dirty pennies have become an unexpected goldmine for collectors, and today we're diving deep into why a coin that most people would walk past on the sidewalk could actually be a valuable piece of American minting history. The 1979 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny might seem like an ordinary copper coin at first glance, but that's where its charm begins. The story behind it isn't just about rarity, but also about how small minting details, years of circulation, environmental damage, and collector demand collide to turn something that looks worthless into something unbelievably valuable. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why you should never underestimate even the dirtiest, most damaged penny that crosses your path. To understand why the 1979 no-mint Mark penny is causing so much excitement, we first need to look at what makes coins from this year special. The United States Mint was in a transitional period during the late 1970s, and although Philadelphia-issued pennies normally carry no mint mark, some coins from this time frame were produced using dies that developed unusual wear, striking inconsistencies, and a variety of errors that collectors find irresistible. That means if your penny has odd scratches, a strange surface texture, uneven lettering, or any unusual distortion, you might actually be holding a coin that tells the story of the minting process itself. But here's the twist. Many of the most valuable 1979 no-mint Mark pennies aren't the shiny ones that look perfectly preserved. Instead, they're the ones that appear rough, damaged, dirty, or worn in a very specific way. Why? Because damage can sometimes hide or highlight minting errors that weren't obvious when the coin first left the press. And collectors love errors. Off-center strikes, doubled dies, misaligned dies, weak strikes, die cracks, and missing elements can turn an otherwise common coin into a small fortune. So that penny you tossed aside because it looked too ugly? It might have held a treasure. Imagine this for a moment: a penny minted more than 4 decades ago, changing hands thousands of times, being dropped, scraped, scuffed, and accumulating endless marks from everyday life. It might have fallen between car seats, rolled around in pockets full of keys, been buried under dirt, soaked in rainwater, or even run over by a bicycle or car. And yet, despite all that, it still carries traces of a rare minting flaw that collectors worldwide are now chasing. This is what makes the 1979 no-mint Mark penny so fascinating. Unlike many collectible coins where condition is everything, here it's the story, the errors, and the mystery that give the coin its value. One of the most intriguing features collectors look for is what's known as a die deterioration doubling effect. Over time, dies used by the mint wear down, and as they press coins, they can create faint ghost-like doubling on the letters or numbers of the design. On a circulation-worn, dirty penny, this effect can be incredibly subtle, almost hidden beneath scratches and grime. But once discovered, it tells you the coin was struck during the final life cycle of its die, creating a rare variety that collectors want in their sets. Another valuable feature is an off-center strike. In some cases, 1979 pennies were struck when the blank was not perfectly aligned with the dies. This produces a coin where part of the design is shifted or missing entirely. Even if your penny looks banged up or faded, if that off-center strike is still visible, you could have a highly sought-after error variety. Some coins also show lamination errors, where impurities in the metal cause the surface of the penny to peel or flake. When you combine natural damage with mint-made lamination errors, the result can look strange, unnatural, or even frightening. But to error collectors, that makes the coin even more desirable. Now, you might be wondering, why would a damaged coin ever sell for a large amount? Normally, damage lowers a coin's value dramatically. But these special 1979 no-mint Mark pennies fall into a different category. The reason? The line between post-mint damage and mint-made errors can sometimes be blurred, especially with coins that have been circulating for decades. Professional graders and collectors know how to identify true mint errors even under years of wear. So while the surface might look rough or even unpleasant, the features underneath can reveal a rare minting event that gives the coin its worth. Let's take a journey through what it feels like to discover a coin like this. Imagine dumping out a jar full of old pennies, expecting nothing more than a handful of brown, worn coins. But as you sift through them, one particular penny catches your eye. It looks odd. Maybe the date is tilted slightly, or the lettering seems uneven. Maybe the rim looks thinner on one side. Or maybe there's a strange raised line across Lincoln's profile. At first you think it's just damage from age or weather. But then you notice something more. The details seem consistent with a known era variety. Collectors refer to this moment as the thrill of discovery. And it's this thrill that keeps people searching through boxes of pennies from banks, estate sales, and personal collections. Every coin is a potential mystery. Every worn surface hides a chance for something special. But let's go deeper into why the 1979 no-mint mark penny has become popular in recent years. Over the last decade, collectors have shifted their attention to late 20th century coins, partly because most earlier pennies in high grades have already been found, graded, and sold countless times. That means new areas of collecting interest are emerging, especially coins from the 1970s and 1980s with unusual strikes or errors. The 1979 penny fits perfectly into this new wave of collecting. It's relatively modern, making it accessible. It's still in circulation in some places. And most importantly, its era varieties and odd-looking strikes make it exciting to hunt. The market for these coins is growing, and some collectors are willing to pay surprising amounts for rare finds, even if they are heavily circulated or dirty. These collectors want pieces that tell a story. A dirty penny that has survived decades of use can be far more interesting than a shiny one that sat untouched. And if your coin has both a fascinating journey and a rare mint error, it becomes the perfect combination for a high-value sale. Let's break down the key things you should look for when examining your own 1979 no-mint mark penny. First, check the date. Make sure the 1, 9, 7, and 9 show no unusual doubling, stretching, or ghosting. Look closely at the word Liberty. Sometimes doubling or die wear shows most clearly in these letters. Next, examine the motto "In God We Trust" along the top rim. Look for waviness, spacing irregularities, or faint extra impressions. Then focus on Lincoln's profile. Are there raised lines, cracks, or distortions across his face or coat? Does the outline appear thicker in certain areas? These can be signs of die cracks or die wear. Also, check the rim around the coin. A slanted or incomplete rim is a telltale sign of a misaligned die or off-center strike. Turn the coin over and examine the memorial building on the reverse. Are the steps uneven? Does the roof look doubled? Are any of the columns shifted or blurred? These details can reveal major minting errors even on a worn coin. Finally, consider the overall appearance. While dirt and scratches alone don't make a coin valuable, unusual patterns or structural distortions that align with known errors can boost its worth significantly. This is where the magic of coin collecting comes into play. A simple penny most people would ignore can suddenly become the highlight of someone's coin collection. The feeling of discovering something rare and unexpected is unlike anything else, and that's exactly why so many people are now paying attention to their 1979 pennies. Over the years, some of these era pennies have shocked collectors by achieving incredible prices at auctions and private sales. And while not every damaged penny will be valuable, the possibility that something extraordinary lies beneath the dirt keeps collectors searching, inspecting, and evaluating every coin they come across. So the next time you find a dirty, damaged penny from 1979 with no mint mark, don't toss it aside. Don't assume it's worthless. Take a moment to examine it closely. It might be scratched, faded, or bent, but what matters most is whether it carries the hidden marks of a minting mistake. Because hidden in the roughness could be a treasure waiting to be noticed. In the world of American coin collecting, there are stories that surprise beginners and shock even the most experienced treasure hunters. It is hard to believe that a small, ordinary-looking penny, especially one that appears dirty, worn out, or even a little damaged, could end up being worth serious money. Yet, every day, collectors uncover unexpected gems hidden inside old jars, dusty drawers, and pocket change. Today's story takes us deep into one of those surprising discoveries, focusing on a coin that millions of Americans use daily without a second thought, the 1990 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent coin. At first glance, this penny seems completely ordinary. It's copper-plated zinc, it features the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, and it carries the classic Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. If you saw it lying on the sidewalk or mixed in with a handful of change, you would probably walk right past it, assuming it has no value beyond a single cent. But as we explore today, not everything is what it seems in the world of numismatics. Sometimes, a coin that appears worn, dirty, or damaged can hide something extremely special beneath its rough exterior. Collectors often say that the first step in coin hunting is learning to look beyond surface imperfections. And this is especially true with the 1990 no-mint mark penny. Many of these coins have lived long, difficult lives, falling under car seats, circulating through hundreds of hands, or spending years forgotten in old jars. Dirt builds up, scratches accumulate, and discoloration sets in. But despite all of this, some examples of the 1990 penny have turned out to be rare, valuable, and shockingly desirable to collectors. The 1990 penny holds a special place in modern coinage because of both its large mintage and the small number of surviving examples that display exceptional qualities or unusual features. Most of these coins were minted in Philadelphia, which, by that period, had already stopped adding a mint mark. This is why there is no mint mark on the 1990 penny. However, the absence of a mint mark sometimes creates confusion for new collectors, who may assume that a missing mint mark automatically means a coin is rare. While this is not always the case, the 1990 penny still has a few unique factors that can make certain examples surprisingly valuable. Some 1990 pennies contain striking errors, and these are the real stars among collectors. Off-center strikes, double dies, broad strikes, clip errors, and die cracks can all transform an ordinary coin into something worth far more than its face value. In addition, even a penny that looks dirty or damaged may actually be hiding a valuable minting anomaly underneath the grime. That's why experienced collectors often inspect coins very closely, using magnification to reveal what the naked eye might miss. There are also cases when the coin's condition appears poor, but the underlying details remain sharp. A dirty Lincoln cent can often be cleaned carefully by professionals, not by regular owners, since improper cleaning destroys value, and once the surface is revealed, those details can greatly increase its worth. Collectors especially love examples where Lincoln's portrait still shows strong definition in the hair and beard, where the lettering remains crisp, and where the reverse design of the Lincoln Memorial retains sharp lines between the columns. Another reason the 1990 penny has gained attention is due to its transitional period in American coin production. By this time, pennies were no longer made from mostly copper. Instead, they were primarily composed of zinc with a very thin copper plating. This change led to many issues during minting, such as plating bubbles, cracks, and lamination errors. For collectors, these unusual mint-made imperfections make coins significantly more valuable. Imagine finding a penny that looks ugly, perhaps darkened from years of exposure, covered in stains, or with clear signs of environmental damage. Most people would throw it away or ignore it. But collectors see the world differently. To them, a coin like this might be worth examining closely because some of the most expensive pennies ever found have actually been discovered in dirty or damaged condition. They survived decades of circulation, yet their rare characteristics still shine through. The 1990 penny is no exception. While most examples are worth only a few cents or a few dollars, extremely rare coins, especially those with errors or in unexpectedly high grades, have shocked the collecting community with auction records far above normal values. The story of these coins teaches one important lesson: never ignore a penny, no matter how dirty, scratched, or worn it appears. Many collectors have shared stories of finding valuable 1990 pennies in places you would never expect. Some were discovered while sorting through spare change collected over years. Others were found in coffee cans inherited from grandparents. Some were discovered during coin roll hunting, where patient collectors searched through boxes of pennies hoping to find a treasure. And surprisingly, A few have even been found at garage sales, flea markets, or roadside shops where piles of coins sit untouched for decades. The excitement of this hobby comes from the possibility that the next great discovery could be hiding anywhere. The 1990 no-mint mark penny, especially when dirty or showing signs of wear, blends in easily with millions of other circulating coins. But for the person who takes the time to look, there could be something extraordinary waiting. This specific penny gained fame when a collector submitted a dirty, worn-looking example to a grading company. At first, even he didn't expect much. The coin looked like it had lived a hard life: dark coloration, some corrosion on the edges, and several scratches across the obverse. But upon careful inspection, experts noticed something special, an extremely rare, mint-made feature that elevated the coin from ordinary to extraordinary. After professional evaluation, this penny shocked everyone by achieving a far higher value than expected. Stories like this highlight a common truth in the collecting world: rarity and authenticity matter far more than initial appearance. A coin may look terrible but still be worth far more than a shiny, clean example. Cleaning, in fact, can destroy the value of a coin, which is why collectors always advise leaving pennies exactly as they are found. Think about the millions of 1990 pennies circulating across the United States. Many are tossed into fountains, dropped on sidewalks, forgotten in drawers, or left to corrode in boxes stored in hot attics. Yet, hidden among them are rare survivors, coins struck with unusual errors, coins preserved better than expected, or coins that, despite damage, still hold exceptional historical or numismatic value. Even the damage on a coin can sometimes tell a story. A penny that traveled through decades of circulation carries marks from pockets, bags, machines, counters, and hands from every walk of life. A damaged penny may not look pretty, but it has lived a long journey through American history. And for collectors, that journey adds depth and character to the coin. The 1990 penny also holds sentimental value for many people. It represents a period when prices were lower, when copper pennies were becoming a thing of the past, and when the United States Mint was transitioning into more modern production methods. As technology improved, mint errors became less common, making older mistakes even more desirable. So, the next time you stumble upon a dirty or damaged penny from 1990 without a mint mark, don't be too quick to throw it away. Instead, take a closer look. Tilt it under good lighting. Check Lincoln's portrait carefully. Study the lettering for doubling. Look at the edges for signs of clips or cracks. Study the reverse for any unusual distortions. You might just be holding something far more special than a 1-cent coin. Collectors all over the world continue to search for 1990 pennies with unique characteristics, and auction houses have documented impressive prices when rare examples appear. Condition, rarity, and the presence of special features are what truly determine a coin's worth. And yes, even a dirty, worn penny can sometimes surprise everyone. The beauty of the hobby is that anyone can participate. Children, adults, beginners, experts, everyone has a chance to discover something valuable. All it takes is curiosity, patience, and an eye for detail. You never know which coin might turn out to be a hidden treasure. There is always excitement in the possibility that the penny you least expect could be the one worth a fortune. And so, as we wrap up this journey into the world of the 1990 no-mint mark Lincoln 1 cent, remember that true value often hides beneath the surface. Keep searching, keep learning, and never underestimate even the dirtiest penny in your collection. In today's video, we're diving deep into the surprising world of rare modern pennies, and this time, we're focusing on a coin that millions of Americans have handled every single day without realizing that some versions of it can actually be worth an unbelievable amount of money. Yes, we're talking about the United States of America 1996 no-mint mark Lincoln 1 cent, a common-looking penny that often appears dirty, worn, or damaged, but in rare special cases, can shock collectors with its hidden value. Many people assume these modern copper-plated zinc pennies are basically worthless. But the truth is far more interesting, and today we're going to explore why this little coin from the mid-90s has unexpectedly become a hot topic for coin hunters and collectors across the country. Pennies from the 1990s are usually ignored, thrown in jars, dropped between couch cushions, or left forgotten in old drawers. But as the coin market continues to evolve, and as collectors pay closer attention to small details like errors, condition, rarity, metal composition, and survival numbers, some dates and mint conditions suddenly rise to fame. The 1996 penny is one of those. This coin marks a period where the US Mint was producing billions of pennies every single year, and most of those coins were made to last only temporarily because of their zinc core and thin copper coating. Because of that, many 1996 pennies look damaged, corroded, or dirty today. But do not let that fool you. Some of these worn, ugly, or unexpected varieties are incredibly valuable. And that is exactly what makes this coin so exciting. Collectors love a challenge, and the 1996 penny offers one. At first glance, it looks ordinary. The obverse features the classic bust of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner back in 1909. The reverse shows the Lincoln Memorial, a design that lasted until 2008. Nothing unusual, right? But the magic lies in the details. The absence of a mint mark means the coin was struck in Philadelphia, which at the time didn't use a mint mark on pennies. That makes the 1996 no mint mark penny extremely common, but it also creates a fascinating scenario. Common coins become valuable only when they stand out due to errors, misstrikes, die cracks, doubled dies, off-center strikes, or unusual mint defects. One of the reasons people find valuable coins in pocket change is because errors from the 1990s are still circulating today, often overlooked for decades. These coins were made in such high quantities that many mistakes slipped through quality control. Some 1996 pennies were struck slightly off-center, some were weakly struck, and others showed doubling in the lettering of Liberty, the date, or the motto "In God We Trust." Some have copper plating bubbles, caused by issues with the zinc core and the thin external coating. A few even display dramatic die cracks or cuds, raised metal blobs caused by breaks in the die during minting. These flaws may appear like damage to an untrained eye, but in the collector world, these errors transform an ordinary penny into something far more desirable. But today, we're focusing on something even more intriguing: the dirty, worn-down, damaged 1996 penny that still manages to reach extraordinary prices. People often underestimate coins that look bad or heavily circulated. They think only shiny, mint-state coins are worth money. And while it's true that high-grade coins earn high premiums, error varieties can be valuable in any condition. A dirty or corroded penny with the right error can still beat a clean regular strike. Collectors are not always looking for beauty, they're looking for rarity, uniqueness, and historic mistakes. That's why the coin we're talking about today has gained so much attention. Imagine finding a penny that looks like it has been through decades of use, dropped on concrete, maybe even run over or tossed in a box of random coins. You pick it up and notice something odd about the way the design sits on the planchet. Maybe the strike looks uneven, maybe the date appears stretched, or maybe the rim looks partially missing. You think the coin is damaged, but what if it's not? What if the strange appearance came from the mint itself? That's where the magic begins. Collectors are willing to pay high prices for coins where the damage actually occurred during the minting process, not after. Post-mint damage, like scratches or dents from everyday use, usually kills a coin's value. But mint-made damage, such as die breaks, broad strikes, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and plating errors, can multiply a coin's worth dramatically. And because many 1996 pennies today are dirty or worn down, people often overlook mint errors hiding beneath the surface. Even worn coins with dramatic off-center strikes can receive high auction prices. Imagine a 1996 penny where the entire design shifted so far to one side that part of Lincoln's portrait is missing. Or a penny with a clipped planchet where a section of the coin appears cut out. Or a misaligned die strike that causes the obverse and reverse to be off-center from one another. These kinds of flaws instantly transform a coin from ordinary pocket change into a collectible treasure. One of the most fascinating error types from this year is the broad strike. A broad-struck 1996 penny might appear wider, flatter, or stretched compared to a normal coin. It may look damaged or swollen, but once a collector identifies that the coin was struck without a retaining collar during minting, its value skyrockets. These coins look terrible to the untrained eye, but stunning to a collector's. Another valuable error is the die break, also known as a cud. This is when part of the minting die literally breaks off, leaving a raised blob of metal on the coin. It often appears around the rim, or near the lettering. These blobs may look like damage, but they are extremely collectible and often bring in impressive prices at auctions. Even a dirty 1996 penny with a strong double die error can be a jackpot find. A double die penny shows slight overlapping text or design elements, caused when the die itself is incorrectly hubbed. If doubling appears in the date, or the word Liberty, expect serious collector interest. Some double die varieties from the 1990s already sell for hundreds, and rarer ones can go for thousands depending on visibility and preservation. Now let's talk about the market itself. Why are modern coins like the 1996 penny suddenly becoming valuable? A major reason is accessibility. Almost everyone has a jar of old coins somewhere. Metal detectors are more popular than ever. Coin roll hunting has exploded on social media, inspiring thousands of people to search through pocket change hoping to discover the next rare treasure. With billions of pennies still in circulation, even a small percentage of mistakes creates thousands of potentially valuable coins waiting to be found. People love coins that seem ordinary but secretly hold surprising value, and the 1996 penny fits that perfectly. A second reason is nostalgia. Many collectors grew up in the 80s and 90s, and now that they are adults, they're collecting coins from their childhood. That drives demand and raises prices. A 1996 penny may seem modern today, but for many collectors, it represents a piece of their past. The most astonishing fact is that some of the highest-priced 1996 pennies ever sold weren't even in perfect shape. Some showed wear, discoloration, or even light environmental damage. Yet they sold for exceptional amounts because their mint errors were so rare that condition became less important than the error itself. This brings us to the highlight of today's video, a dirty, worn, damaged but mint error 1996 no mint mark penny that shocked collectors with its auction result. The bidding started low, but once experts realized the coin had a major, dramatic strike error straight from the mint, the price climbed quickly. People watching the auction couldn't believe how high it went for a coin that most people would have tossed aside as worthless. But this is the new reality of numismatics. Rarity beats beauty, and error beats condition. Coin collectors know that the thrill of discovery is the heart of the hobby. Anyone watching this video could very well find a rare 1996 penny in their pocket right now. That's why so many people are searching their coins carefully, cleaning out old jars, going through inherited collections, and checking every date and detail. Modern pennies are still one of the greatest opportunities for treasure hunting in circulation today. And the 1996 penny, with its surprising list of potential errors, is one coin you should never ignore. So the next time you come across a dirty, scratched, worn down 1996 penny, don't dismiss it. Turn it over. Look closely at the date, the lettering, the rim, the portrait, the shape of the coin, and the way the strike looks. If anything seems unusual, even slightly off, you may be holding something far more valuable than a single cent. You might be holding a rare mint error worth real money. In today's video, we're diving into a modern coin that many collectors ignore, overlook, or even toss aside thinking it has no value at all. But as we have learned time and time again, in the world of numismatics, the most ordinary-looking coins sometimes hide the most extraordinary secrets. And when it comes to the 2013 D mint mark Lincoln 1 cent, especially one that appears dirty, worn, or even damaged, collectors are discovering surprises that are turning a simple penny into a pocket-sized treasure. Now imagine holding a penny from 2013, a coin that millions of people have spent, dropped, forgotten under couch cushions, washed accidentally in laundry machines, or walked past on sidewalks. It's a coin you've seen thousands of times. A coin so common that nobody thinks twice when they see one. But what if I told you that this little copper-plated zinc coin, even in dirty or rough condition, can be worth far more than its face value? What if the penny sitting quietly in your drawer, the one covered in grime and scratches, might actually be one of the rarest modern finds? The Lincoln Memorial design ended in 2008, but the Lincoln Shield cent continued the tradition of America's most famous coin. The Denver Mint produced well over 1 billion pennies in 2013. That massive mintage is exactly why most people believe that every 2013 D penny is just another common coin. But here is where the story becomes fascinating. After billions of coins enter circulation, only a handful survive with unusual traits that collectors desperately want. These traits are known as errors, varieties, die cracks, misstrikes, plating issues, and off-metal strikes. When these characteristics appear on coins that are still modern and plentiful, the value can skyrocket. Because collectors love finding rare mistakes in common coins. So let's talk about the world of 2013 D pennies that appear dirty, damaged, or worn. Many people assume dirt or discoloration automatically reduces value to zero, but this is not always true. In fact, some of the most surprising discoveries come from coins that look like they survived a tornado. Why? Because sometimes the dirt hides a mint error. Sometimes what people believe is damage is actually a dramatic die clash, a major die crack, a shattered die effect, or even a misaligned strike. These rare features can remain unnoticed for years, especially if the penny already looks corroded or covered in debris. Imagine someone finding a penny with what looks like a dark stain on the reverse side. They toss it aside thinking it is ruined. But a collector takes a closer look and realizes that the discoloration is actually highlighting a massive die crack stretching across the shield. That tiny flaw, created during the minting process, instantly turns a worthless-looking penny into a valuable piece for error enthusiasts. Now imagine another person discovering a coin that looks like it was pressed twice. Many would think it is post-mint damage, but a trained eye notices a very subtle shift in lettering, proof of a genuine double die. This is exactly why dirty pennies should never be thrown away before inspection. Another fascinating feature found in some 2013 D pennies is plating bubbles. Because these coins are made of zinc with a thin copper coating, the plating sometimes separates, causing raised bubbles or distorted surfaces. While minor bubbles are common, dramatic or unusually shaped bubbles can gain collector interest, especially if they occur on the portrait, the date, or the mint mark area. These are the types of coins that look damaged but are actually mint anomalies. And then we have the world of off-center strikes. Occasionally, a penny is struck slightly or even significantly off-center, but it still makes it into circulation. These coins are instantly recognizable because part of the design seems missing. Even dirty off-center pennies are valuable because the error occurred at the mint, not after circulation. Some collectors specifically search for modern-date off-center strikes because they are much rarer than older ones. Some 2013 D pennies also showed die deterioration doubling, especially around the letters of I in God We Trust or Liberty. This isn't traditional doubling caused by hubbing mistakes, but some collectors still enjoy collecting extreme cases because they make the coin look unusual and visually appealing. Even in circulated and dirty condition, a dramatic example can still sell. Let's talk about another interesting factor: environmental damage that reveals hidden errors. When a coin is dirty, scratched, or faded, it tells a story of travel, pocket to pocket, hand to hand, city to city. But there is a difference between circulation damage and mint errors. Sometimes what looks like damage is actually evidence of a die chip. Many 2013 D pennies have small die chips that appear on Lincoln's nose, beard, or the shield on the reverse. These chips sometimes blend in with dirt, and only careful inspection reveals their true nature. Some chips come in interesting shapes, and novelty collectors like buying coins with chips that look like tears, bumps, or even tiny shapes resembling states or symbols. Now picture a 2013 D penny that has been in the soil for years, corroded and dirty. Someone digs it up and thinks it has no value at all. But after washing it gently with plain water, they notice something incredible: the penny is broad struck. That means the coin was struck without the retaining collar, causing it to expand in size. This is an extremely rare modern error, especially valuable even in heavily circulated condition. Collectors also love coins with clashed dies. In this error, the hammer and anvil dies strike each other without a planchet in between, producing ghost-like images of the opposite design on the surfaces of coins made afterward. These ghost impressions can sometimes hide beneath dirt and grime, and only under the right lighting does the faint pattern appear. There are even 2013D pennies with dramatic machine doubling that makes the letters appear stretched or flattened. While machine doubling is not as valuable as true hub doubling, extremely bold cases can still attract attention, especially when the coin is unexpectedly found in pocket change. Now let's get into the reality of value. A dirty or damaged 2013D penny without any errors will almost always be worth 1 cent. But once you introduce a rare error, especially a dramatic or visually appealing one, the price begins to rise quickly. Some major errors from 2013 have already sold for impressive amounts online. Collectors are actively searching modern coins, because high-grade examples are scarce, and error coins from recent years are still underdiscovered. The most important thing for anyone watching this video to understand is simple: never underestimate modern pennies. The coin you overlook might be the coin someone else pays a surprising amount for. All it takes is one rare error, one unusual strike, one hidden detail lost beneath dirt or oxidation. So the next time you find a dirty 2013D penny in your pocket, don't ignore it. Don't throw it away. Inspect the obverse carefully. Look at Lincoln's face for chips, doubling, or strange marks that might be mint-made. Check the date closely under bright light. Turn the coin over and inspect the shield for cracks, breaks, or distortions. Look at the edges for broad strikes or color errors. Examine the surfaces for bubbles, plating blisters, or raised lines. Sometimes the difference between a penny worth 1 cent and a penny worth hundreds, or even thousands, comes down to spotting one tiny detail. And in an era where millions of pennies pass through our hands every year, only a sharp-eyed collector catches the rare ones before they disappear into piggy banks, jars, or coin-counting machines forever. As more collectors search for hidden treasures in modern change, the value of rare 2013D errors continues to rise. The market is growing, demand is increasing, and exciting new discoveries appear every year. And remember, a dirty penny does not mean a worthless penny. It might be the next surprising gem that turns out to be a valuable modern rarity. Which brings us to the most exciting part of this video: the highest known price ever paid for a rare 2013D penny in dirty or rough condition. That remarkable amount was $14,756. The story of the modern American penny is far more fascinating than most collectors imagine, and today we dive deep into one of the most surprising coins to ever spark excitement in the world of small cent hunting, the 2017D Mint Mark Lincoln 1 cent coin found in dirty, damaged condition. At first glance, this coin looks like something no one would ever pick up from the sidewalk, a coin that most people would leave behind without a second thought. But as history has shown again and again, there are moments when an ordinary-looking penny becomes far more valuable than its appearance suggests. This is where the real magic of coin collecting begins. The story starts with the Denver Mint in 2017, a year that produced billions of Lincoln cents. Most of these pennies circulated without anything special about them. They went through countless hands, vending machines, grocery counters, gas station drawers, and pockets full of change. But not all pennies are created equal. Even in years of mass production, some coins emerge with unusual characteristics that make collectors all over the world take notice. And sometimes, even a coin that has suffered dirt, damage, and visible wear can become a hidden treasure, a quiet survivor of a long journey across America. Imagine finding a 2017D penny at the bottom of an old jar, darkened by grime, the copper plating dull and rough from months or years of circulation. Perhaps it had been dropped in a driveway, stepped on, scraped along asphalt, or buried under other coins in a cash register. Maybe it sat in a wet environment where moisture darkened its surface. To the untrained eye, this looks like a coin worth absolutely nothing more than 1 cent. But for collectors, every coin carries a story, and this particular year has some interesting things behind it. The 2017D Lincoln cent still features the famous bust of Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner, a design that has now lived for more than a century. It remains one of the most recognized images in American numismatic history. Even with scratches or dirt on its surface, the portrait of Lincoln remains powerful, a symbol of the country's history and the evolution of its currency. But beyond the design, what makes some 2017 D pennies special? The answer lies in errors, anomalies, rarity, and unexpected conditions that stand out from the billions of coins minted that year. It might seem strange to talk about rarity when discussing a coin produced in the hundreds of millions. Yet rarity in the world of coin collecting does not always come from low mintage numbers. Sometimes rarity comes from unusual mistakes that slip through the minting process. Sometimes it comes from misaligned dies, off-center strikes, plating bubbles, die cracks, doubled dies, or coins struck on the wrong planchets. These mistakes, though uncommon, are real gold for collectors because they represent something the majority of coins simply do not have. Now imagine a 2017 D penny that appears dirty or damaged but still holds something unusual beneath the surface. Maybe the coin has a subtle die break, often called a cud. Maybe the reverse has an unusual crack pattern. Maybe the obverse displays faint doubling that survived years of circulation. Or perhaps it has a missing copper layer in one spot that collectors call a plating error. These are the little things that can transform a penny from ordinary to extraordinary. There are also collectors who love coins that show signs of surviving harsh environments. Some coins emerge with metal discoloration caused by oxidation. Others have scratches that show years of travel across concrete or gravel. Some coins get stuck in machinery or pressed under heavier metals, leaving dents or unusual shapes. Even though many damaged coins lose value, certain kinds of damage can still interest the right collector, especially when paired with a legitimate mint error. Now let's talk about the journey of these coins. A penny minted in Denver in 2017 could have traveled thousands of miles before being discovered. It could have passed through dozens of states, crossed borders in people's pockets, or been saved in a piggy bank for years. These tiny details add to the imagination of the collector. The more unusual a coin looks, the more curious people become about where it has been. This is why some coins that look rough or dirty can still spark excitement, because they hold mystery. Collectors often say that the fun of coin hunting is not just the value but the unexpected thrill. You never know where you might find a valuable coin. It could be in your spare change, in a parking lot, in an old purse, in a jar sitting untouched for years, or inside a box of coins inherited from a relative. Some of the most valuable pennies ever discovered were found in places no one expected. Back to the 2017 D penny. This coin, though modern, has already shown that certain versions can fetch impressive prices when they show errors or unusual characteristics. Even a coin that looks heavily worn or damaged can still surprise collectors, especially if someone spots something unique under the dirt. Many people online have shared stories of finding rough, scraped, or discolored pennies from 2017 that turned out to have significant minting mistakes. One example is the penny with a large die chip on Lincoln's nose that collectors call the bump on the nose variety. Another example is the reverse die crack forming a line across the shield. These coins are not extremely rare, but in high demand among beginners and experienced collectors alike. Now imagine a dirty, damaged penny that still shows one of these characteristics. That could easily catch the attention of a collector who wants an unusual piece for their album or display. Coin shops around the country often emphasize that modern pennies with dramatic errors are becoming harder to find in circulation because millions of people have become coin hunters thanks to social media. Videos, guides, and articles have inspired people to check their change more carefully. This means collectors are pulling out interesting pennies faster than ever before. As a result, coins with noticeable errors gain attention quickly, and their values rise. Another factor contributing to value is the emotional appeal of the find. When a collector discovers a dirty, damaged coin that turns out to have a valuable error, the backstory becomes part of the coin's attraction. The idea that something so small and worn can still carry hidden worth is powerful. It represents the possibility that anyone, anywhere, can find a treasure. Now imagine creating a video or sharing a story about such a discovery. People love to hear real stories of everyday finds turning into something special. The 2017 D penny is one of those coins that continues to surprise collectors, especially when found in poor condition that still hides a rare characteristic beneath the flaws. Let's explore the physical features of a dirty, damaged penny from 2017. The copper plating may be worn down, exposing patches of zinc underneath. Dirt may be lodged inside the letters of "I in God We Trust," "Liberty," or the date. The mint mark D may be soft or distorted from wear. The shield on the reverse may show scratches, dents, or metal flattening from years of use. Yet even in this condition, a coin may still hold detail that signals something far more interesting than its appearance suggests. The United States Mint continues to produce billions of pennies each year, but collectors know that hidden among these common coins are unexpected treasures. This is why people say, don't judge a penny by its condition alone. Some dirty coins tell a deeper story. The question becomes, how do collectors determine value? They look at rarity, demand, condition, and the presence of any mint errors. A penny with ordinary damage is worth a cent. But a penny with a mint error, even in poor condition, can be worth more, sometimes dramatically more. This is why it is so important for people to check the details before assuming a coin has no value. Imagine someone finding a dirty, heavily circulated 2017 D penny and cleaning it aggressively, thinking they were helping it look better. But experts always warn, never clean coins. Cleaning can damage the surface, remove valuable details, and lower a coin's worth. Dirt can actually protect the underlying metal from corrosion, and leaving a coin as found is always better. Through the years, collectors have paid surprising amounts of money for unusual modern pennies. Auctions, private buyers, and online marketplaces have shown rising interest in coins that stand out in any way. A dirty coin, a damaged coin, a bent coin, or a darkened coin may not sound like something special, but when combined with a legitimate minting mistake, its value can rise significantly.